So I wanted to just start off by asking, tell us a bit about yourself, your family, and give us some context would be great.
Okay, I am a single mum of 3 boys. My eldest is 19 and my youngest is 3, and I have an 11-year-old in the middle. I've struggled with depression all my life. I can't remember a time when I didn't. Wasn't sad, wasn't upset, wishing I was somewhere else. And it wasn't until I had my first son, Daniel, that I really felt the impacts of mental illness. It wasn't until 2008 that I actually had that confirmation of diagnosis of BPD. And at first I was like, no, I'm fine, you know, there is nothing wrong. But it actually makes sense, you know. And then there was the acceptance. I had to accept that this was going to be part of my life forever. And then I had to learn, live with it, I guess. It's kind of like a shadow that's by your side and it's always there and nobody else can see it but you. And just learning the triggers, learning how to understand, I guess that's the right word, and appreciate it. And I know that's a big thing, appreciate. But you learn to appreciate it because it makes you who you are. But for me, it's made me a better mother. I think because I can have conversations with my children that I never had with my own parents, especially my mother. It was a very toxic relationship, but it's in turn made my children better people. I like to be real because every day is not great. Some days are just really bad and you've got all this noise in your head, like you've got thoughts that are constantly churning around, but your children need attention. So I had to let them know that on those days when I seemed like I wasn't caring, or, you know, I'd be a bit short with them when they asked me a question, I just explained to them that it wasn't them and that what was happening in my head, because often I'd see, you know, both my boys go off and cry and they didn't want me to see them cry because they just thought, well, you know, mum's upset with me, but it wasn't the case. So having those conversations have allowed them to then come to me and speak to me about things that are going wrong.
So sort of thinking about if we're trying to raise awareness about what it means to have BPD and also be a mum, a single mum, are there any other key kind of messages you'd like to give to anyone really, whether they're working in services or they know somebody who's got BPD and has got children? What are the things you would like to say to them? Never
stop trying. Every day you're going to learn more about yourself. Every day you're going to understand more about your triggers, about what works, what doesn't work. And just because it worked yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow. And it's not going to work next week. It might never work again, but at that moment, at that time, it got you through and it did what it needed. It taught you something. It showed you how brave, how strong you were. And I guess ultimately it got you through that day.
What are things have you done that's been different? How has your parenting been different to how you experienced it, and how have you celebrated that?
I don't put my children down for feeling certain ways. I don't make them feel like they're not important. I give them the space to be able to come to me and say, I'm having a really crappy day today, Mum, and this is why.
That's fantastic. And you've also add another little string to your bow. You're a foster mum now.
I am, yes. Yeah. Very recent. I've been looking after a little baby girl for the last 3 months. And it's something I never dreamed that after, you know, you get your diagnosis of mental illness or mental health, that I never dreamed that I could, you know, be trusted, I guess, to look after another child. But I am, and that's probably the grumbling you hear in the background. She's sucking away on a little rattle. And she's just brought so much joy to our lives, and I feel proud to say that, you know, my children again can say in years to come, Mum didn't let that beat her because she did this and that, and, you know, I want the list to be endless and I want my children to be proud.